Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today I'm bringing you the starting 11 show for Burnley versus Everton at Goodison Park on Saturday. Let's get straight into it. Jordan Pickford in goal. I don't think that needs any more explanation. He was our man of the match on Tuesday night against Newcastle. Dealt with the pressure of playing the Geordies so well. Him being a Mackham. We've seen him crumble in that stadium so many times, but he did well to cope with the pressure. Our man of the match kept us in the game so many times on Tuesday night, and I think he was huge for our point. And I think for Saturday, having him in goal, I think that's going to be massive for us again. I think if he can replicate that performance, I think that'd be huge for us. Moving to left back, I'm going to go with Vitaly Mikalenko. It was huge to have him back on Tuesday night against Newcastle. We really missed his presence against Bournemouth. I thought he was fantastic in terms of defence. He kept Newcastle out a lot of times. He's always that calm, quiet head at left back that seems to just go about his business quietly, go about his defensive work quietly, and I keep saying it every single week now. We're seeing him get to a point now where he's honing his attacking style well. So I think Mikalenko has to start for me. It was great to see him back on Tuesday night, and he offers more defensive solidity. Two centre halves. I'm going to go with Branthwaite and Tarkowski. Again, solid. I thought they played relatively well on Tuesday night. Kept Newcastle to relatively few chances in that second half. First half, they looked a little bit shaky here and there. Thought Tarkowski got done for the Isak goal quite easily. It looped over his head, and thought he might have been able to step off and do a little bit better for that. But I think the dynamic that Dyche will want for the Burnley game is the aerial threat going forward. We've already seen this season how well we've done from corners against Burnley, scoring one in the Carabao Cup in that round. I think James Tarkowski got his head on the end of a Dwight McNeil cross, and again at Turf Moor in December, scoring from a header from Amadou Onana. And I think having Branthwaite and Tarkowski in the box for crosses, I think that's what Dyche is going to want. So I think they're going to be huge for us going forward on Saturday as well as in defence. Then right back and another contended position. I think we've had a lot of conversations in the last few weeks or so about this right back position. In previous weeks, I've opted for Nathan Patterson. I've said that it's time for Nathan Patterson. I'm going to go with that. I think Nathan Patterson has to start on Saturday against Burnley. Let's be proactive. Let's get at Burnley from the start. We're going to need his pace going forward. We're going to need crosses into the box. I think they're a team that can definitely be hurt down on the flanks, and I think it's time now for Nathan Patterson to get a run in the team. I know I say this every week, but I think it is now time for Nathan Patterson to get that chance and go into the team. Moving into midfield, I'm gonna start with Amadou Onana. I think he's going to be crucial for us. I don't think he had the best of games on Tuesday night. I thought the stats did him proud in terms of performance. I'm watching. I didn't really think he had a fantastic game. I think he had a decent game, but not as good as his standards that we saw in the international break. Let's just see him get on the ball. I think having him on the half turn, getting him turning in behind, and having playing wide balls towards McNeil and Harrison, or whether it be to the striker in behind, I think he's going to be crucial for us creating chances on Saturday. And he's a very big part of how we're going to unlock Burnley and how we're going to unlock that defence. Moving on to the other centre midfielders, I'm going to go with James Garner. I thought he looked very good when he came on. Very unlucky not to get on the score sheet as well, hitting the inside of the post. He was so unfortunate not to get on the score sheet there. And yeah, I think he is now getting to a point where a spell out the team did him good. A half out of the team. He didn't start on Tuesday night against Newcastle, and I think that made him even more hungry when he did enter the field. And I said it before. I think he looked decent, and if we can just replicate that performance in the second half, the against Burnley on Saturday, I think that'll be huge for us, because he broke up the play well. He was firing decent passes here and there. He was being progressive with the ball. He was running forward with it, and I thought he had a relatively decent last half hour of the game. So I think, yeah, James Garner has to be in for me. And another player I'm going to go with in centre midfield is Idrissa Gana Gueye. We looked so much more assured in midfield with him up there, didn't we? On Tuesday night against Newcastle, we looked a lot more calm in terms of defensive midfielders. I think he was really solid, and a spell out of the team. I think it didn't really show that. He showed the sharpness that's needed for a centre midfielder in the Premier League. And for me, I'd definitely start him. I'd give Doucouré a rest on Saturday, and I think Doucouré hasn't really been up to the level that we've seen before Christmas. I said it in the pre-Bournemouth, and I said it in the pre-Newcastle show as well. that we've not really seen the level from Decore that what we saw in those 4 games before Christmas. You look at the last time we played Burnley, for example. I thought Decore was pretty instrumental in that game. So I think it's now time for a game or two out of the team for Decore, and let's put Idrissa Gana again, go for a flat midfield three, and maybe use the player I'm going to talk about next in the attack as that central playmaker. So we might as well go on to the attack. It leads us quite nicely onto that. Off the left, I'm going to go with Dwight McNeil. But on Tuesday night against Newcastle, we kind of saw him deployed as a little bit like a floating winger. He would come inside, get the ball, and then either spray it wide or run in a straight line and be direct with his running. I thought that was really nice to see. So I'd definitely start McNeil. I thought he played well in the second half. He was decent at creating chances. We got a lot more chances in that second half against Newcastle than what we did in the first half because first half we were pretty embarrassing, I thought, in terms of tactics. But McNeil playing as that central, coming in inside and playing as that central sort of playmaker, I think that can really hurt Burnley. They're a team that like to play wide, expansive football. Vincent Kompany's shown that he's not really too happy with change to the style of what he played in the Championship last season to what they play in the Premier League now. He hasn't really showed too much change in terms of that. So I think if Dwight McNeil can drift inside and be that central playmaker, I think that'll be massive for us. Off the right, I think Jack Harrison will start. I think Jack Harrison will be opted for by Dyche. Listen, he offered a little bit when he came on Tuesday night. He offered a little bit of a different dimension, but we just need to see more from him. We need to see him firing. At the start of the season, we saw that great goal against Bournemouth. Can he replicate that? Can he get himself on the score sheet? Take risks, take early crosses, take shots. We really need that output from Jack Harrison now because in these last few games we're going to need everything we get from our attack, and I think Jack Harrison definitely has the minerals to offer that. It's just whether we can see that from him now and see it in an Everton shirt. But we know it's in there. We just need to see it. But no, I would go. I do think that Dyche will opt for Jack Harrison off the right, and then probably the most contentious position on the pitch, as always, is striker. I think Dyche is probably going to go for Dominic Calvert-Lewin this weekend. This is a difficult one for me because I've really advocated in the last few weeks for Beto having a run in the team, and I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin. The main reason I said that is because Dominic Calvert-Lewin's had his chance to get on the score sheet and he's not done so. He scored on Tuesday night. He got us back in the game and he got us that point with the well taken penalty. But that being said, I'm just relatively skeptical of what he can offer. I think Dyche is probably going to opt for Calvert-Lewin because of the aerial presence. We've seen it this season in the Burnley game at Goodison in the Carabao Cup and in the game in the Premier League at Turf Moor, that we have had a lot of joy from the aerial battle and having a big aerial presence up there. So I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin will start against Burnley on Saturday. And listen, if he can just carry on the run now, he's got 1 goal on the score sheet, his first one since October. If he can just carry that on now and take the confidence that he got from scoring that penalty into the Burnley game on Saturday, I think that'll be huge for us. But again, I said it last week, I'd really like to see a two up front. Whether I think that'll happen, I'm not 100% sure, but a two up front would probably hurt Burnley because they wouldn't expect it. They're expecting a flat 4-3-3 with Dominic Calvert-Lewin and one striker up there. So I think for me, I'd quite like to see a two up top formation, but I do think Dyche is going to opt for that flat 3 up front, and DCL will be at the spearhead of that. But that's all for the Starting 11 show today. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you're thinking ahead of Saturday. Are we nervous? And what you're thinking about the team and the tactics. But that's all. Speak to you soon.